Yeah, great. Awesome. Get into it, Bucko. All right, welcome back, everybody. Teed Up, episode 2. Appreciate everybody tuning into last week's episode. We dropped it last night. Thank you to everybody for the follows, likes, all that good stuff. Keep tuning in. We got more stuff in store for you. But we got a big weekend coming up, championship weekend, college football, tons of primetime matchups. First one we're gonna dive into, Utah USC. That should be a hell of a game. What do you got for me, Tom?
That's one of the games I'm watching this weekend. Probably number one, obviously, other than the SEC. SEC's always got probably the best championship game, no matter who's playing, because at least one of the teams is number one, whether it's Alabama, Georgia this year, LSU's even been there. Um, but yeah, no, USC Utah just is intriguing to me because Utah obviously beat USC earlier in the season. And I mean, I like to watch games that score, and there's no better team in the nation scoring than USC. Lincoln Riley's came in there with Caleb Williams, and that offense is electric. I'm a big fan of Caleb Williams. That man, there's nothing he can't. He can throw, he can run, he can scramble. He makes great plays like off the run. He reminds me a little bit of Josh Allen, to be honest with you. He had a play. I want to say it was against Utah. Yeah, it was against Utah in the game in the first game. He's escaping on third down, escaping the pocket, runs around, and all of a sudden just darts. I think like a 30-yard, 40-yard run, almost scored a touchdown. But he's got long strides, big, tall, physical player. I'm really looking forward to watching this game. I think USC is going to come in there after losing to Utah early in the year, experience a little bit with that, and they're going to come in. I think they're going to win this because they're fighting for that last spot right now in the college football playoffs. So they're fighting for more than what Utah is. Utah, obviously they win this, they're going to get a better bowl game, but there's no bigger and better bowl game than the playoffs because you're out there fighting for a national championship, and that's the glory of this. So I like USC, but this game I think is the game of the weekend, or at least one of the top two. What do you think? What you got?
I think this is the game of the weekend. It's got to be because if USC doesn't win this, I'll get into this later, but I think Ohio State sneaks in if USC doesn't win this. But the key thing to me here is like USC's defense is atrocious. I think they have their defense is just not there. They're giving up 400 some yards a game. They're just lucky that Caleb Williams is putting together 500 total yards a game. So they're skating by. That first game was fantastic. Caleb Williams had around 380 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. Like that just keeps you in the game, and they still lost. But Utah's quarterback Cam Rising, he's no joke either. He had over 400 passing yards, 5 total touchdowns, but 3 of them were on the ground, and that's where USC is really going to have to lock in on defense because if you got that dual threat kind of quarterback who's throwing for 400 but then giving you 3 touchdowns on the ground too, that's a crazy threat. So I don't know how this is going to go, to be honest. I'm leaning Utah. Um, I know a lot of people are gonna want to see like, all right, Caleb Williams, he's the clear cut Heisman, in my opinion, and he should be. But people are gonna want to see him get in the playoffs. I just don't know if that defense can rise to the occasion and get the stops when they need to. They play for points, and that's just how it's been going for them this year. They're scoring and putting up yards. I think they're scoring about 42 a game, and they're giving up 26 a game. Obviously, it's a little lower than it seems, considering like there are games throughout the year where you're playing, slapdick teams and you're just running the score up on them. But the games that they're playing against other good teams, those games are getting up into the high 30s, 40s. Like those are high scoring games, and the defense is not doing much to stop them. They're just so incredibly lucky that Caleb Williams is playing at a level like he is right now, and he's just playing off the charts.
Last game 43-42 score final. Very high scoring, but college football is a lot of high scoring. Realistically, you don't see many games that stay in the 20s, like other than maybe the SEC, because SEC's got good defenses. Like Georgia, they can hold any team in the nation to under 20 points if they've really like wanted to. But in that game one, Utah, like, yeah, their quarterback played fantastic and USC's defense is bad, but also their receiver had 234 yards and a touchdown, Kincaid. So like I just don't see that being repeatable, no matter how bad a defense is. If they can shut down this guy a little bit less, he only had one touchdown, but 234 yards is ridiculous.
Yeah,
That is ridiculous. 16 receptions. But I mean, yeah, their defense is bad, but when there's a championship on the line, we're gonna see who really comes out, who's prepared more. This is where like the coaching staff comes into play. And Lincoln Riley, he came from Oklahoma where they don't really care about defense either in the Big 12. So like, yeah, you could see the defense is the problem, but that offense, man, it's just electric. What they need to really do is settle themselves down a little bit and control the clock, keep the defense off the field. Because if that offense is on the field, they're going to score. That's not going to be a question. But if they can keep Utah's offense off the field, that's what's going to make them win the game.
That's like
Just because
a weird issue balance that they have though, because it's like their offense is so high powered that they get those big plays and they'll drive down the field and score on a 78-yard, 80-yard drive in 4 minutes. So it's like you're obviously not going to limit your offense and try to play conservative in the first half or even the third quarter. But it's like at the same time, you got to realize like you got to instill the confidence in your defense. But if they're just not playing to that level, you need Caleb Williams to go out there and score as much as he can, as quick as he can.
no, you're definitely right. But at the same time, you don't want to score quick because that means the other team can chew up the clock, right? And then that's when they can be efficient because their defense is so bad. So if you're the team that controls the game and the game speed, that's where everything really will come into effect, and you'll see just a better performance on the defense. They'll be a little bit more juiced up, a little energized more. They're not going to be as fatigued because they're going up and down the field, up and down, up and down. Like if you can limit the possessions for that defense to be on the field in the time, they're going to be like, all right, look, if we only need to make 2 stops this game, why not be that 1 stop right now when we really need one? That is just going to come down to a mental game. Like let's stop, let's go right now, let's lock in. We need 1, and now our offense is going to do their job because they're going to do their job no matter what. But that's just all it comes down to for me, at least. I like USC. I'm hoping Caleb Williams can put on a good performance because he's my Heisman candidate right now. The man, he's just got so many different Heisman plays. Like last week, he had every Heisman winner has their play. Like everybody looks at it, be like, yep, that's the play that's certified. He had his last week on that ridiculous scramble for like a 40-yard run I don't even know if it's a touchdown, but just a ridiculous scramble.
It was just a big first down, but yeah, that was nuts. This is going to be a fun game. They play tomorrow night, Friday, 8 o'clock. There's only 3 games on that night. Obviously, the other 2 are like decent games. It's championship games, but like this is the game to watch for the whole weekend. I would say too. I'm not even as interested in LSU Georgia. To me, that game doesn't have. Yeah, it's the SEC championship. Has no implications realistically. If Georgia loses, they're in. If LSU wins, they have no chance of getting in. It's
Georgia loses, they're in. And it's like Michigan, the same thing with Michigan. If they lose to Purdue, like Purdue's not going to get in. It's going to be Ohio State. But I mean, realistically, Michigan Purdue, that's not a game I'm watching. I don't want to watch that. That's not fun at all. So I mean, we're gonna see. I mean, TCU, Kansas State too. It's like it's not as like I respect TCU. Like they're undefeated. They beat Texas in a great way, in a great fashion. But it's like I don't want to see TCU. No offense to them and their program, but like nobody wants to watch them play Kansas State. We're gonna watch USC. You're gonna go watch Georgia and LSU.
You're gonna watch shit that affects the playoffs. Like that's why this USC Utah game has like the strongest implications to me, because if USC loses this game, which like this is not going to be an easy game for USC. They've lost this team before, so it's like this is going to be a good game. And if USC loses, Ohio State is 1,000,000% in, 1,000,000% in. And like I want to see, as much as I love Caleb Williams and I do like USC, like as a degenerate, I bet on USC just about every week. Like I just like Caleb Williams is electric. I love watching them. But like Ohio State, they have to get into me. Like they had a bad week against Michigan. That's all like people I saw some guy tweet like, "Oh, we saw Ohio State's true colors." No, you didn't. You saw them have a bad week and it happens, okay? These 19, 20-year-old kids had a bad week. They're still, in my opinion, I'll say a top 2 team in the country. I think it's Georgia and then them. That's why I need to see Ohio State in the playoffs.
I mean, you can't have Ohio State over Michigan after they just whooped their ass.
It was just a broken game for them. Like Michigan scoring 4 touchdowns over 65 yards. Like it's just like it was just
credit them. Don't discredit Michigan. Their offensive line got great pushes up front. Their offensive line versus Ohio State's defensive front clearly advantaged Michigan. And they showed their running back had 265+ yard runs for touchdowns, and 2 of them were on back-to-back drives. Clearly, they found out what was going to happen, and they did it in the second half. The first half was great football, competitive, and in the second half, when it mattered, they said, "Look, we're going to run it down your throat, and you're not going to stop us, and we're going to keep going."
Is
Simple.
TCU 2 seed right now?
Yeah. No. Michigan. They're
See,
3.
that's what. So this is why I want to see Ohio State get in, because if Ohio State gets in at the 4, TCU 3, Michigan 2, that Ohio State Michigan rematch will look far different than this past week did.
Playing the championship game if they both
1 and
win.
4, 2 and
Yeah,
3.
1-4, 2-3. The only way they face each other again is if USC and TCU lose, because then it's going to be Ohio State 3 and Bama will probably get in. They're not going to. If TCU loses, they're favoring Bama, because
You think
realistically,
if TCU loses, Bama's in?
absolutely. You think seriously that the playoff they're not going to have Alabama go in there when they have a team at TCU that loses a game to Kansas State? Come on. Alabama has 2 losses to LSU and Tennessee. Tennessee obviously isn't as good now because Hooker's hurt, done for the year. But they were at #1 team at the time, on the road, lost on the last play. LSU, yeah, they got 3 losses right now, but still a top 15 team. And and if LSU beats Georgia this weekend, it looks even better for Alabama. Even better. There'll be no doubt in my mind that they get in.
That will help them.
But here's the thing. So yesterday they announced the playoffs, they're expanding to 12 teams in 2024, right? I wonder why, after the last maybe 2.5, 3 years of them talking about it, I wonder why this season they're announcing that they're expanding to 12. Because the playoffs realized,
Bama's about to not get in.
because the 2 teams that bring in the most money in college football aren't getting in for the first time ever in the playoffs. That's why. Let's be real. And TCU's getting in, and they're not going to bring in as much money as Ohio State or Alabama. No chance. They're a team that nobody really is going to be watching and care for as much. So I think it's a little crazy that this year, out of all the years, they finally say, no. We want to make sure Alabama and Ohio State are always in this playoff, because they bring in the money, and
They
that's all that
confirmed
college
it for
cares
the
about.
2024 season, didn't they?
Yep.
It's good though. It's a good move. Like I want to see some sort of potential for an upset. Like Georgia, if whoever see, but like for instance, this year, what LSU's the 13th team, is it, or 14th? Say just hypothetically, they were the 12th team. Like that's a great 12 seed. Like it would be Georgia LSU anyway, essentially, or
Absolutely.
something. Like so, I do think it's a great idea. I mean, having just 2 games, it really brings more viewership to it, because it's all right, this is the playoffs.
Clemson too, they're not making it, and they're number 8 right now.
Yeah.
So it's always made it and always been there.
Give the opportunity to some schools that like a TCU, for instance. They're this is their coming out party this year, and if they weren't, imagine they when UCF went undefeated. I know their strength of schedule really wasn't there, but they go undefeated, and then you don't even get a chance to be called the best team in the country when you're the only team that hasn't lost a game. That sounds kind of crazy to me. I get the whole strength of schedule thing, but it's they deserve a chance, I feel like.
Deserve a chance, but at the same time, I was 2 years ago, I think, or it wasn't last year.
I think it was a little longer ago. I feel like it might have been
3 years ago. I don't remember exactly who the top 4 teams were, but I'm sure it was Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, and who that other 4th team was.
I'm not sure.
They weren't better than those teams. We know they're not better than Bama. We know they weren't better than
that might have been the year that Cincinnati got in.
Yep, that makes sense. When Sauce was there with Desmond Ritter. Yeah. That
might have been that year.
But they also played competition, Cincinnati, compared to UCF. Yeah, I think they had a loss, but they still beat good teams that year.
I'm not gonna lie, I could be completely wrong, but Cincinnati's in the American Conference, isn't it? The AAC. I think UCF was in that too. I thought they were in the. I think in basketball they are, unless I'm thinking of one of the other like maybe it's like USF, maybe it's South Florida or something. But I thought they were in that conference too.
Cincinnati year, that was last year when Cincinnati made it, and then Alabama took care of them.
Yeah, they got packed the fuck up. What am I thinking of? What year was that?
19. Holy shit, that was a long time ago.
Damn, that was crazy though. That like brought
American
like
Conference.
they are right.
Yeah. I mean, their only good win realistically was Auburn. Oh, that was in the bowl game too. Never mind. They played Southern Florida and Memphis. They were 22 and 16. Those are their only two ranked opponents. And Memphis, that was in the championship game. They beat them for a second time.
Okay.
They played Maryland, Memphis in the regular season. They did play Cincinnati that year. They beat them 51-23. East Carolina, Navy, Austin P, SMU, Connecticut, Temple. Yeah, like they were beating up on these teams that they should be beating.
Yeah.
If they're such a good team. They didn't play any good competition until Southern Florida, and they won by a touchdown.
But it's also one of those things like you can't blame them for their schedule. You know, it's like the conference they're in, but it's like they just I don't know, they deserve a chance. But now it's like teams like that will have a chance in 2024, so that's good.
I mean, I just think it's a little crazy they finally decided to do it this year once Bama's not in it. But hey, I was a proponent of bringing it to 12 before,
I
like
think they were going to
any of
do it
this.
regardless. To be
Yeah,
honest,
I thought they should have done it a long time ago. They should have started out with at least 6 or 8, not 4, because
yeah,
there's just too much room for people arguing like, oh, they should have been in it too. Like, I think 12 is the perfect number. If you look at it, it's just ideal.
I agree. It'll definitely this weekend. It'll definitely be fun. I hope some things change. I hope the top four, shakes up a little bit this week. I'd like to see some drama this weekend. Nothing like it.
We'll transition into professional level. Yet again, another important week. December football, very meaningful games. It's starting to get to the grind time for these playoff teams and in contention. Meaningful December games. Like you're playing more divisional opponents. You're probably fighting for number 1 seed, divisional wins. Divisional champions. So we'll see. Like the Vikings can clinch this weekend if they win and the Lions lose, which I think the Lions are playing Jacksonville. I don't think they should lose that game. I think
That's a fucking toilet bowl.
Jack had a good win last week, but I'm blaming more of Baltimore for losing that game than Jacksonville winning. They had a big fumble at the end of the game. Gus Edwards that was terrible. You can't fumble inside the 30-yard line. But yeah, Vikings Jets this week in Minnesota. That's got a real good game of the week right there. I mean, as a Jets fan, I'm looking at that and it's like, all right, if Mike White goes out there and proves himself again, he doesn't have to do what he did last week against the Bears, like 303 touchdowns. That's good. Those are good numbers. But if he goes out there, maybe 220, 250, 2 touchdowns and like a pick, definitely giving the team a very good chance to win. If you do that, and then they control the game on the ground, which the Jets' run game is pretty good no matter who's back there. I really do like the Jets, but it's gonna be tough to stop that offense. As good as the Jets' defense is, nobody has an answer for Jefferson. Is it Sauce? Is Sauce the answer? You think? I don't know, because you're gonna get a guy who's 6'3", tall and lanky, who's got speed and physicality. Jefferson. I mean, who else in the league can offer that?
Jefferson's the best playmaker. He's the best playmaker out wide in the league. There's nothing. I'm not saying they're gonna win the game. I do think they're gonna win the game handily. I think Mike White is gonna have a little slump this year, and people should be getting on you for what you said last week with the Mike White Tom Brady comparison. That was asinine bullshit.
Same exact thing, almost. It's the same exact thing.
God.
5th round pick compared to a 6th round pick, and Brady came in because Bledsoe got hurt. Zach Wilson didn't get hurt. He's just a dickhead. He's just an idiot. He's just bad and just said the completely wrong thing after a terrible performance. So
It's a
I'm
big
not
week for
comparing
Mike
them.
White.
It is, because last year we saw when he came in, 400, 3 touchdowns against the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl, and then he didn't play too good the rest of the way. If he can go out there and actually show himself that he can play good back-to-back weeks, because then he's got the Bills next week, and that's even more, because that's a divisional game. You win this week and you win next week, Zach Wilson, he'll be done. He's never coming back. There is no way the team is going to look at Zach Wilson and say, no, we want you as our quarterback. And the Jets fans, they're going to get rid of him so quick. So quick. If he beats the Bills and Vikings, they'll be done.
I think the Vikings pack the Jets up this week. I think the Vikings probably win this game by I'm thinking at least 13 points, to be honest. I think the Jets defense is good. They definitely are. I'm not denying that. I just don't think I just have a feeling Mike White's not gonna have that bounce back type, that repeat performance. I just don't think it's gonna bode well for him. And if it does, then tough. You know what? He's the future of the New York Jets, supposedly.
Hey, he if he does do this, it's like he's gonna be the Jets starter forever. Not forever, but for however long he keeps playing well. He'll lock down the starter role the rest of the season. I know Saleh said that he's gonna go back to Wilson this season, but he's only saying that so Wilson can hear it and say, "Look, I still have a chance." But after, if it's a big if he produces this week, he's not playing this season, and it's gonna be tough unless barring injury. But still, it's Mike White's job to lose right now, obviously, and there's nothing Zach can do except hope and pray that Mike White gets hurt or he just plays terrible football.
Yeah, I am a little, I don't want to say confused, because the Jets defense is good and they do hang around in games that most people don't think they should. But I was slightly surprised about the betting line on that, 3.5 for the plus 3.5 for the Jets. I just I don't know. I just, knowing that Mike White's going to be there, I'm not saying he's bad. He played well. It's just I'm waiting for him to have that game where you're it's Mike White, or oh, he's human. He's the backup quarterback for a
reason. He had that last year. He had those games.
Yeah, and then he fell off the charts until Zach Wilson decided to run his mouth like a little prick.
Mike White is he's a good quarterback. He's a good backup. You look at him and you see he's a quarterback. You know what I mean? He's got that quarterback build. He's tall. He's not physical. He's not fast or anything like that, but he's just tall, good arm, good IQ, smart. What he did last week is he made the easy throws like you're supposed to, which Zach Wilson hasn't been able to, but he's also made the right play and the smart play every single time. He's making the right decisions. He's making good throws down the field when the players are open, but when he's looking downfield and there's nobody open, he's taking a dump ball for 5 yards. That's how you win games. That you don't try to force the ball down the field every single time. If it's there, it's there. But if it's not, you take your 5 yards and you go on. Because you could do if you average 5 yards a play, you win every football game. You'll score on every possession.
That's all that matters. The Vikings aren't the Bears, so we'll see how he can play against the Vikings this week.
But he did that in the rain, and now he's indoors, so at least he's not in the cold or anything either. So it'll be a good game, interesting. But realistically, I think he'll come back to earth a little bit. I don't think they're going to get blown out. I think it's going to be a 7-point, either way, 7 or 3. I don't think it's going to be more than 10.
Depends. It depends on Mike White, realistically.
Well, yeah.
Because the Vikings are going to score.
Yeah, I mean, I just think realistically, I know that Mike White, everybody's talking about. I want to just watch Sauce versus Jefferson. That's what I want to see, because you're going to really see how good Sauce is if he can do anything against Jefferson. This is the test. He's had some good tests this season with Hill and Waddle in Miami, Jamar Chase when they played the Bengals. Those are good players, but this is the best in the league.
Jefferson is just so smart and slippery. He just people always wonder how do you keep letting him get this open? It's when you're in a zone defense, this guy is just slipping through the cracks and finding the spots in the zone. And obviously Cousins being smart this year, he's looking for Jefferson in those scenarios. Jefferson's just finding his way. He's fantastic. I think I would love to see a jump ball between him and Sauce this weekend, though. Deep ball, jump ball. Let me see something.
I mean, you're seeing people testing Sauce down the field He's got on last week. Claypool got him. Um, it was pass interference anyway. Either way, Sauce didn't get his head turned around, but people are testing him down the field, and his makeup recovery speed is just it's unreal. He's making the plays, so I'm watching that, but I'm also more excited to watch the Chiefs and Bengals, which probably the rest of the whole country is, because that's got Super Bowl or AFC Championship game implications all over it. I mean, if it's not the Bills, Chiefs, or Bengals, people are going to be shocked in that game, or at least one of those teams in the game. What do you think about that one?
I think this game. I think the Chiefs win. I'm not as big like on the Bengals. Like I get they're 7-4, but like I'm still calling it like a sophomore slump compared to how they played last year. Like 7-4, they're getting their wins. They just don't look as like poised and composed through the games like they did last year. And that offensive line too, like it's just too inconsistent for me because if there's a game where Burrow's getting heat, like it's done. And Mixon is hurt, I believe. P. Ryan's playing great. I will say that.
Back this week, I think.
Mixon's back. P.
I'm not
Ryan
I'm not certain on that.
Filled the hole real well. I think this game will have a lot of points. It will be a fun game to watch. I could see like a 34-24 Chiefs.
So Mixon and Jamar Chase are practicing this week. So both of those guys play. We're gonna have ourselves a shootout, and it's not gonna be there's gonna be zero defense. We're talking about USC and Utah putting up points. This is gonna be a shootout in the best fashion with the two best offenses in the league. Two of the best offenses. I'm not gonna just say that here because I got to think a little bit more about that.
I was gonna say, don't let me start churning.
Like the Dolphins got a good offense, but still, and the Bills obviously.
Yes.
I mean, this game is going to be a shootout. If Jamar Chase plays, I mean, he's not going to play the full time and get all his reps, but whenever he's on the field, he's going to make an impact. Simple. He's going to impact the game just in one way or another. If it's just going to be getting doubled a little bit more, getting more attention on his side, and then it leaves T. Higgins open or Boyd up the middle, or if Mixon plays that gives him the ability to run, he's going to impact the game when he's on the field, no matter how it is, if it's catching the ball or if it's simply just people coming over to his side.
This is that game where I wish Tyreek Hill was still on the Chiefs just to see that Eli Apple, Tyreek Hill matchup. Yeah. Eli Apple's trash. The guy just like runs his mouth just because he gets a 6-figure game check, but he's awful. So I'm like looking forward to seeing that matchup. Kelsey's going to do his thing. Regardless of who's out there, he's just like disgusting.
That the fact that this game is on, I'm pretty sure it's a 4:00 game. Let me see. Yeah, game of the week. But why in the hell are the Cowboys playing the Colts Sunday night? I'm not watching that. I mean, I'm gonna watch Colts. Probably, but why the hell is that the Sunday night game? This is like the Chiefs and Bengals is a repeat of the AFC Championship game, but the Cowboys playing the dog shit Colts.
Here's my best guess. Tony Romo doesn't call night games, I'm pretty sure. And Tony Romo's on that call.
No, he's not. It's Fox.
So I mean I have to listen to Aikman and they're
on Monday night, yeah.
Yeah, they got flexed on Monday night. Oh, god damn it. Like I love listening to Tony Romo now. Like I hated him when he played for some reason. There was just something about him. I was just like, this guy drives me nuts. But
it's going to be Burkhardt and I think it's Greg Olsen. Is it not? I think that's the Fox Game of the Week crew now.
That's disappointing. I mean, that's like when Romo called that Bills Chiefs game. It was electric. Dude goes out there and guesses the exact score before, like in the first quarter. Yeah. Just like a nutcase.
Yeah, I mean he is great. I'll give him that. He's good at calling stuff out, and it's the voice with Jim Nantz. It's like
I love it. He'll like you get the audio over it, and you hear like the quarterback check the play or something. He's like, oh, he just checked this. Wanda. He's like, all right, expect a run to the right here. hand off to the right. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy thinking?
Comes into obviously his preparation knowledge of the game, like the conversations they're having during that production meeting. It's like he's talking to them like, all right, when you check down, when you say this, what does that mean? He's probably asking some stuff like that, or he just knows what he knows the playbooks. You know, he's been
I
around the
wouldn't be
block.
surprised. I wouldn't be
He's been around the
surprised.
block. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm also looking over at the Dolphins Niners game too. Good defense in the Niners versus a great Dolphins defense or offense. Sorry. So I mean, that's another one. You got Nick Bosa on one side going up against Tua, Waddle, and Hill. You know,
That's
what do you
that's
like?
my that's my game of the week. To be honest, I think that yeah, I think that's going to be a great game. I'm just so intrigued by like McDaniel coming back from uh the Niners. Now he's coaching the Dolphins. Like I just think that'll be a fun matchup. It's like where his like coaching career kind of like flourished, and now he's got his chance to be the big dog in Miami. And Miami's having some injury issues right now at the tackle spot, which like when you're playing the
Both
Niners,
of them.
you're playing the Niners. The last position you need to be facing injury problems is somebody on that O line because the Niners are going to be coming and they're going to be bringing heavy heat.
Absolutely are. Bosa's coming there, and their linebackers they do like the blitz too, so they will bring some pressure. They might not be able to with the speed of Waddle and Hill, but I'm looking at that. I think the Dolphins offense versus the Niners defense might be the matchup of the week, but the game of the week is by far the Chiefs Bengals. Those two offenses going at it. You got Mahomes, Burrow, Higgins, Chase versus Kelsey, and I mean realistically, Kelsey and Juju, they're not comparable. I mean, Kelsey is probably one of the best players in that game, but Juju's not comparable to Higgins or Chase. But it's just the smart coaching of Kansas City what allows them to be who they are. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from McDaniel. He's done great with Tua. He's done a real good job this year making sure he's comfortable back there and he's got people around him. But I just don't know how the Dolphins defense is going to handle that Niners offense. I think this is another shootout for sure, but the Niners defense can make stops when they want to and when they need to. I don't know if
And
the Dolphins can.
I'm not gonna lie. One, I'm just like a sucker for a headline. So like I see like this whole storyline about them facing off old team. Like I'm just a sucker for that shit. Huh? I don't even know what you said. You skipped out.
I said, you stupid ass journalist.
Ah, very funny. Very funny. I like I like the Dolphins offense more than people are playing this matchup out to be. Like, yeah, the Niners defense is top notch, but like the Dolphins are still gonna put up points and they're still gonna score. Like, don't get that twisted. Tyreek Hill and
I'm not taking anything away from them for sure.
no, I know, but like I'm saying, like I think it's gonna be much harder for the Niners to get their stops that they typically do. When also their game last week was not impressive at all. I mean, yes, all right, in a way it was. You know, you shut out a team through 4 quarters. It's impressive, but you win 13-0 against the Saints. Like their offense didn't look good.
City's defense is good. It's not like they're bad. It's just the offense wasn't there. They
It's
need
just
help. Like
it's just an ugly game. The Dolphins always find a way. It seems like to put up points. They put up a solid spot no matter whether they win or lose who they're playing. They find a way to get in the end zone.
absolutely. I mean, realistically, the fact that the Dolphins are having some problems with their tackles, and you have arguably, if not the best pass rusher in the game, going after Tua. That he's it's not like he's one of the best. Like he is one of the best. He's a game breaker, and we know Bosa is a game. He can jump up, bat balls down, intercept the ball, drop back in coverage when you're not expecting it, intercept Tua, get after him, force a fumble, recover it. Like there's nothing the guy can't do. He's a game breaker. It's like T.J. Watt, game breaker for the Steelers. When he's on the field, there's a difference on that defense and in that game.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where it comes down. They're going to have to help him. The running back's going to be shadowing that side every single time to help out whichever tackle it is, because you're going to have to bump him. You're going to need to.
The Niners are definitely lucky that they have the second best Bosa brother. You know what I'm saying?
But you can't compare the two. I guess you can.
Hey, can they play the
I
same fucking position?
you can't compare them realistically. Yeah,
Fuck
but
outta
I'm taking Bosa on the Niners before I'm taking Joey. I'm taking Nick Bosa before him.
Well, I'm not.
I mean, look at the impact of the defenses. The Chargers defense is supposed to be top tier. Derwin James, J.C. Jackson is free agent signing. You got Bosa obviously on the front line, Khalil Mack, and they're not even in the playoffs right now.
Bosa's on a 10-week injury. He's been out almost the entire year. That defense is injury riddled right now.
But I mean,
don't get me started on the Chargers.
Different day, but Jets have a better record. Jets are better. We'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, totally. Fucking buffoon. Let's get into our next little segment here. This clown show. We got the Pit Boss plays of the week. We're each gonna drop 3 plays, keep a running record. Worst record at the end of the month, we'll have a little punishment. So drop some comments. Let us know what
This
you want to do.
punishment this month is the person has to eat 30 cannolis in 10 minutes.
Oh no, Tom!
Especially for that.
Don't lose.
30 of them. Come on.
If you guys watched the podcast that we dropped recently, 3-0 last week, you guys would have made great money off me. If you faded Tom, you would have made great money.
Look, I should have went 2 for 3. That it was just a BS garbage time touchdown in the Cowboy game. It is what it is. We're gonna take it there. We're gonna take the L. We're gonna say, yep, it happened, but it shouldn't have. It's just some bullshit. But that's why we don't gamble.
And that's why we do, baby. 3-0. Let's get into week 2. Here we go. All right, my first play. What do you got, bum ass?
No, I was just gonna introduce the Bills game, but you got it. You go ahead, Mr. 3-0.
Sorry, I'm a little teed up right now. I'm 3-0. It's let's keep it going. For the Bills Pats game tonight, Thursday night, prime time. My play, I'm gonna go Josh Allen anytime touchdown. He's leading the team in rushing yards, and all of his rushing touchdowns this year have been on the road. So they're on the road tonight again in Foxborough, I believe. And they are, right?
Yeah.
I'm expecting him to punch one in here. I think he breaks off a few big runs tonight and he finds his way into the end zone. It's a comfortable pick for me. It's at plus 200 too, so get it while you can. It's pretty good odds.
I thought it was 170, but either way, still.
I think it started at 200. It's probably getting lower now because people know that shit's gonna happen.
Yeah, realistically, he's gonna punch in there. And my plays in this game, I got Josh Allen over 40 yards on the ground rushing. I think he's just gonna be able to break loose. I feel like 40 yards is such a low number for the line to start at. I don't understand why it is. And then I also have the Bills having at least 10 points. I'm taking it over 10 points at halftime or by halftime. They've done this in every game except for 3 this year, so I like that pick a lot. I think against the Patriots, they got to come back after last week. Disappointing game versus the Lions, barely winning, but I think they're going to make a statement win this week. It's okay. So I gave you my 2 play. Well, I got one more, but what are your next 2? What are your next 2 plays?
All right. Well, I'm back on my my road to 3-0. So for my second play, let's go Utah plus 3.5 against USC. The line has dropped down to 2.5 now, but make sure if you take it, make sure you get them at 3.5. We want that field goal coverage there just to make sure. But yeah, we touched on it already. They beat them once this year. It's going to be a great game regardless. I just have a feeling from a betting aspect. I have a feeling the public's going to be all over USC, especially with Caleb Williams, being the clear-cut Heisman leader. People want to see him in the playoffs, and they know if he takes an L, he's not going to be in. So everybody's going to want to see them win and see what he can do against a team like Georgia, a team like Michigan. So I think it'll be a great game. But as much as I love USC, I think Utah has a good chance to win this game. That's why I'd rather play it safe and go with the plus 3.5. So if they do lose by a heartbreaking field goal at the end, we still cover. But I think the game is going to be tight. So I like them at plus 3.5. That's That's my play. The Buckeyes. I think Ohio State's getting in. So I really think the only way they get in is if USC loses. Like you were saying before, Ohio State brings in that money. So let's get
Yeah,
Utah with that win. Get the Buckeyes in.
fair. What do you
My
got next? What's your next one, or what's your last one?
my last play. Speaking of the public, my last play, I'll be joining the public in
Oh boy,
yeah, I
that
can't I
never
can't
works out.
I know, but I just can't. I'm going to take the Packers -5.5 over the Bears Sunday. I think Rodgers definitely plays. I know he's a little banged up, but I expect him to go out there and play. He said in an interview a couple days ago, he's he expects to play. He doesn't want to. He wants to give a little push because the front office is thinking pull the plug on him and let him sit the rest of the year because it's not looking good for him. He
Yeah,
said, he still has faith that they could win out. I mean, what else are you gonna say, really? But this is the week. I mean, let him go against the Bears. If he loses to the Bears this week,
Mike White's
then
better than him.
yeah, next. So we're gonna take the shut the fuck up. I don't even know why you say that shit. We're
Because
gonna take the
if he
Packers.
technically right, if Mike White beats the Bears and Aaron Rodgers loses,
Yeah, you sound like a fourth grader. We're gonna take the Packers -5.5. Okay. Everybody knows Rodgers owns the Bears.
yeah,
He's 23-5 in his career against them. And he's gonna come out and play angry. Like he just like whenever he plays them, it's just like that nasty Rodgers, like no more Mr. Nice Guy. He just goes
yeah,
out and handles them. So I know everybody is going to be on the Packers for that reason, but I just can't fade Rodgers in this situation. Like I just can't do it.
that's
Also,
fair.
the last 5 games, the Packers have had a top 10 defense, and in that same stretch, the Bears have had a bottom 3 defense in the league during that
Oh,
stretch.
I was gonna say, are they the Jets defense is not bottom three, but you're saying their defense have played bottom three.
In the past 5 games, the Bears have been a bottom 3 defense in the
Okay,
NFL.
yeah, got okay,
And the Packers have been a top 10 defense just the
yeah,
past 5.
okay.
So if it ends up being a shootout between Rodgers and either Simeon or Justin Fields, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. So like I'm gonna lay the points with the Packers. 5.5. If it gets to 6.5, I don't think I will take it, but I would get 5.5 while you can, just in case they win by a couple field goals or something like that.
Or just a touchdown missed extra point. Yeah, I agree. 5.5
Especially
is a
with
safe line.
Crosby out there, because Crosby's a toss up these days.
Yeah,
Dude can barely. Some days he's like money, and other days he couldn't even hit a field goal.
right.
If he was born with Justin Tucker's ability. Pathetic.
um, where's that game at? Is that in Green Bay?
I think it's in Chicago. I pray
Either way,
it's
it's still
in
gonna be cold.
Chicago. Yeah, I pray it's in Chicago. To be honest,
I
let's
hope
see.
Aaron Rodgers wins just to sheer fact so he can go out there and be like, I still own you, because that was great.
That was
He
iconic.
does. He just owns them.
It's in Chicago. It's at Soldier
Okay.
Field.
All right. Well, my last player this week, I'm going to the Chiefs Bengals game. We got, I think the line's at, it's either 51.5, 52.5. I forget what it is, but I'm going to take the over on 52.5. I just don't see either defense. Maybe the Bengals defense making a couple big time stops, but I'm looking at a 28-24, 28-27 game. I think that, I mean, the 28-27, I would say, look, I'm looking at that score just because
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't see
know.
either team pulling away.
I don't know how your math is, but 28-24 is 52, so you wouldn't hit the over.
Well, I'm not sure if it's 51, 52. That's what I'm saying. I
So
don't
why
know
don't you
where
say
it's at.
51 then, Bucko?
I'm gonna take the 52. I'm gonna be confident with it.
Okay. Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
whatever the over is at now, because it started at 51.5, and I think I saw at 52. Whatever it's at right now, either way, I still think the over is gonna hit. I'm looking at a high scoring matchup this week. I mean, maybe the Bengals make a stop, but Chiefs defense, they're not going to stop many teams. We're talking like USC's offense versus defense. The Chiefs are the USC of the NFL. Same, basically the same team. Just obviously professional players, obviously. So I'm taking the over, and that's my final one of the week.
I like
And
that pick. I like that pick. I think that'll bode well for you. I'm excited to see how that plays out. You got to have a big week, so I hope you did your research, Bucko, because
I'm feeling
don't
good.
don't let me run away. Don't let me run away,
Like I
and
said, I'm feeling good.
don't let somebody throw some crazy comment in there with a nut punishment. Like you're gonna go out there and do some stupid shit because like
I'm eating
I'll make it
30
happen.
cannolis.
I'll make it happen. Tommy, that's not a punishment. That's
Yes,
that's
it
like
is.
fucking like
Yes, it is.
Italian Christmas for you.
Yes, it is. It's a big time punishment. 30? I'll be in the gym every single day for 4 hours just to make sure I can do that.
Look at you suggesting a punishment that involves you eating a cannoli when our logo is a picture of you shoving a cannoli down your face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they call me Mr. Tommy Cannoli.
yeah. So yeah, why would we punish you with
All
cannolis?
right, fine. We'll do Shriadels. We'll do that instead.
Ah, okay. If you can
Those are
spell
just
if you
ridiculous.
can spell that, then you can do
It's like
it.
SFIAGETELLES. It's some bullshit like that.
Yeah, you're wrong.
It's like Sfoigadel. It's not spelled how it sounds. Just put it that way.
Better luck next holiday, buddy.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to a different sport. We'll go move on to NBA. We got a good topic today. We got start, sit, cut. We're gonna do some power forwards and then we're gonna do some point guards. But we'll start with who are so. Let me ask you, who are you starting for power forward? Giannis, KD, or AD?
I'm starting. So like, this is the way I'm going to be looking at this segment for today. I'm looking at how you're playing right now.
Yeah. We'll look at it today, not
Like I'm
like
setting
all
a
time
lineup
today.
for today. Okay, I have to start. I have to start Giannis. Um, and KD's got to go on the bench, and I'll have to cut AD, which is tough. He's leading the league in rebounds right now. I know the injury prone is ridiculous. It's uh it's hard to cut him, but with Giannis and KD, those are just two
Yeah,
powerhouse guys. So I'll probably have to cut AD, but AD when he's available this year, he looks like prime AD. He looks
yeah.
like
We saw he had that stretch of 30 and 15 with it 3 or 4, maybe I think it was 4 straight games. And that's incredibly hard to do. The difference between AD and the other two though is his handling, the like ball handling isn't there as much. He's more of your stereotypical four. Like he's just more of the rebounds, post up. He got that shot, but not. I mean, Giannis doesn't really shoot that well. He's just
I'm
downhill.
taking AD shot over Giannis anytime,
No,
but like
absolutely, absolutely. But
it's the
Giannis is
complete
able to
him.
dribble and just go boom like a bullet right at you, and he's
Yeah,
just dunking. It's a little bit different of how he can handle like his body compared to AD. And Kevin Durant, we just know he's probably the best. I'm going to say this: he's the best scorer ever. He just his ability to score flat out, shoot like Curry at 7 feet tall, from shoot like Jordan in the mid range, Curry from three. It's just impressive.
yeah. I don't think I can give you that, but he's definitely top.
Two, if not one.
No, he's probably like he's 100% top five, and I could probably make an argument for top three.
I was going to say, yeah, five's for sure, and I'd say even three is for sure. But
I
we'll
have
we'll do
Kobe
that
ahead
on a
of
different day.
yeah.
Yeah. Different topic, different day. We don't got enough time for that today.
We'll throw it
Um,
in.
yeah, I fully agree. I'm just struggling with who I'm going to start between Giannis and KD. AD is gone. I like the KD and Giannis games way more. I think they're healthier, and even take the health out of the way. I just think Giannis can still grab rebounds like AD can. Um, I just like his game. He's a little bit more well rounded everywhere. He can guard big men still and also guard threes where AD can't really guard the three. He's too slow for that. KD, we obviously, that's no argument why I'm starting him over AD. We just know he's just way better. Um, but realistically, AD's not far off. It's not like he's far off in that. I'm just a little worrisome with his health, but still he's his scoring is good, but it's more in spurts. We know his low, like his low is low. You know what I mean? It's like he's real good or real bad. There's not really an in between. And Giannis, I know he can facilitate a little bit better and he can win with less compared to AD. KD needs everything in the world to win. That's why I went to Golden State. That's why I look at Brooklyn now and he's still not winning. But his ability is still top tier, still a top tier player in the league. But I'm agreeing with you full heartedly. Start Giannis. I'm benching KD, cutting AD. So then the
That's
second one, the point guards. What are you thinking? And now this one, this one's tough.
This one's fun.
This one's really tough. So start, sit, cut, Shai, Trae Young, or Ja Morant.
Yeah, we're talking about right now. So if we're talking
Yep.
about right now, my answer would vary if we're talking, spaced out over a season. But if we're talking about right now, I'm starting Shai. He's averaging 31, 5 and 6. He's been unstoppable.
Yeah.
I have another little hot take for you about him afterwards. But I'm gonna throw Trae on the bench. Trae, he really does like do it all. Obviously, he's not crashing boards, but like he's leading a team, facilitating, and he's also getting his own. He's averaging 28 and close to 10 assists. He's second in the league in assists behind Halliburton. And then I'm gonna cut Ja. I'm gonna cut Ja. Listen, Ja's a freak athlete. Ja is,
to say the
he's
least.
great. He's great, but I just think when it comes down to leading your team, I feel like I'd rather have Trae Young in that spot. And then the way Shai's playing, Stude is putting top. I think their overall against 5 teams that are 500 is better than below 500. So they're like, the Thunder.
Yeah.
Like the Thunder are beating good teams, but then like falling to middle of the pack teams.
They're playing to the teams like level. You know what I mean?
I think they're like 8-13, 8-12. So like obviously nothing crazy, but they don't have 8 wins if Shai's hurt or something like that. Like they're probably like whatever, like
I got 3. Yeah,
something crazy.
And it's all without Chet too.
I'm loving the way he's playing. I also have him on my fantasy team too. This dude's a nutcase. He's fantastic.
He fills the stat sheet to say the least. He's got everything.
I'd probably have to cut Ja. The only difference is just like I just think Trae has a better IQ, better decision making, and Ja relies on his athletic ability more than the other two do. The other two are like, not that Ja isn't purely skilled, but the other two are just like more refined to me.
Yeah, fair.
So that's why I just gotta have them over a course of a season. I'm starting Trae and benching Shai, and Ja is still cut out of these 3, regardless, in my opinion.
So interesting. Yeah, I disagree with that. The cut Ja, his mentality is what makes it for me. It's like he's not afraid of anybody. He's gonna rise up. He'll go right at your throat. He don't really care. He's gonna go right at you. It's like he's the Giannis, but smaller and skinnier. You know what I mean? Like how Giannis will size you up. He'll go from midcourt, run right at you, and be like, all right, if you want to foul me. But guess what? If you don't, I'm throwing it down on your head. Like to me, that mentality is what makes Ja Morant who he is. Because if you're not afraid of anybody and you let everybody know that, you're going to get more attraction, like down low. You're going to have to foul you. You go to the free throw line and get some more points. Or he gets all these highlight plays, all these highlight dunks, these highlight layup, even a layup, like 360 layups, like just tough finishes. But realistically, it's between the start and bench. Or I'm probably going to start right now, like you say, Shai. He's probably one of the best players in the league right now, and definitely probably the best young player in the league. I'm going to bench Ja just in the sheer fact of off the bench. If you get a spark plug like Ja, that's different. You know what I mean? That's just energy. And I'm cutting Trae Young. I don't like Trae Young. I think he's a bozo, to say the least. A little biased this right here, just because I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah, just a little. What a bullshit reasoning.
No, it's not. Even bias aside, I look at Ja's team, and I think the Grizzlies and what they're able to do compared to the Hawks and the Grizzlies in the West Coast. The West is. I mean, this year I'd say the East is competitive. I'm not saying that this year, but like in years past, Ja's been able to win with a lot less of talent around him in a way tougher conference compared to Trae, where he's like, when he went on that run in the playoffs, as a Knicks fan, yeah, but that was just a lucky season.
The Eastern Conference Finals.
That was a lucky season when he beat the Knicks. He played the Sixers, and like Ben Simmons was. I don't like Simmons. We spoke about him last week.
They shouldn't have won that series though.
I mean, yeah, the Sixers probably still should have won, but Simmons just didn't help Embiid. It was the Embiid show. Like you still need help from your second superstar. As much as as I like to say, as a big man, you're gonna need help from a guard. Tobias Harris isn't gonna be that guy.
That playoff
Yeah,
performance is something that Ja hasn't had yet, though.
no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he hasn't showed up there, but we'll have to see for that. But as of right now, I'm taking Ja on the bench, starting Shai, just because Shai, what he's doing with such a bad team around him, and he's so efficient, and he's filling out the stat sheet. There's really not much. He doesn't need to shoot the ball either. You know what I mean? Like he's just efficient. He's not relying on the three. He's not relying on a mid-range jumper. He'll get to the basket. He's not afraid to dump it off. Like he'll get you 20 assists and 10 points if he really wanted to. Like he's just an overall team player, and I love his game. He's just one of the I put him up there with Luka, MVP right now. Like I think Luka's MVP for me, but Shai's not far. Shai really isn't.
Oh, Shai, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who do you think I was saying? Ja? No, Shai. Not yet. Shai isn't far.
Yeah, regardless of like the Thunder's record, like I know like that's a big part of it, but like let's not act like the Mavericks are doing much better.
No,
I
no,
don't think
no.
their record is much
Absolutely.
better. So I'm saying like I think if the season ended today, like I'm voting for Shai because that team, yeah, they're not doing great. They're not at the top of the conference, but if you look at where they would be if he wasn't there, they'd have 2 or 3 wins and like 18 losses.
Yeah,
He's
it
hit
comes
like
down to that
three
whole like
game winners
most
already.
valuable part. Yeah.
He's hit 3 game winners already this year. Like this guy is like the definition of clutch so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to the most valuable, you really can't go pick one who's more valuable to their team. Because if you take Luca off, I think they're the worst team in the league. You take Shy off his team, they're the worst team in the league. It's just it comes down to because they're both valuable, the performances they're having, and Luca's the other night, a 40-point triple double. Like it's just gonna be one of those things we're gonna see often. He's gonna do this. There's not the key. It's not. He's just methodical. Luca's so methodical in how he plays. He's slow. He just knows how to get to his spot, put up a real good shot, contested shot, and make it off glass, floaters.
He
He could
forces
post
you
you up.
to he forces you to play at his pace. Like he
Exactly.
dictates the pace of the game.
Exactly. And that's what makes him so special. No matter how you play, it's his pace no matter what. And that's why I think he's just impressive.
He is, yeah, he's great. He's great, definitely. But as far as I like this segment. It's a good little fun little segment. So we'll probably keep incorporating that and we'll throw some of those all time segments in next week or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Those
Comment
those
what you
those
guys
can
think
get out of
what you want us to debate too. Let us know like if you want more start sit cut, what players, or compare what players better than what all time. So let us know.
definitely because we'll get out of hand on some of those. I'll give you a
Yeah.
little spoiler. Allen Iverson, top 3 all time. Next segment for college basketball, big game.
Yeah, he's running to the next one.
Big game on Friday. Yeah, let me know what you
Top
think about
three
that
all
later. Big game on Friday, college basketball, a little rematch of
stupid
the
ass.
of the 2021 national championship, Baylor at Gonzaga. I know you and I hold this game near and dear to our heart. During that game, our friend Connor, who also lived with us at the time at school, we just all got together one day or that day before the game, and we just had all 3 of us had this gut feeling. We were like, Baylor's gonna go out there and dominate Gonzaga. Gonzaga was favored, I believe, 4 points, 5 points,
Yep.
and we were
We
like,
took a
let's
minus
go
what?
9.5. We were like,
Yeah, I
let's
was
go
gonna say
take
we put
Baylor
them
alternate minus 9.5, and we got the whole house on it. Everybody was on it. We threw however many hundreds of dollars on it.
I put my student loans on that shit.
Yeah, just about right, and we're still paying them back. And
Yeah.
they went out and cashed. They won by like 20 something points.
Yeah, I think it
So
was either 20 or 19, something like that.
they killed them. That Baylor team was different, but
Yeah.
this game is gonna be fun. I think Gonzaga comes out with a quite a big chip on their shoulder, even though it was a couple years ago, and there are some kids on the team who weren't there for that. You damn well know Drew Timmy's taking this game personal, regardless.
Absolutely.
So my biggest thing for Gonzaga in this game is can Nolan Hickman and the rest of the backcourt handle the Baylor's defensive pressure? Now, that'll be the main factor in seeing if this game will be close or not, because regardless, I think Gonzaga wins. Definitely, I would say, honestly. But if the backcourt of Gonzaga struggles with the pressure, it'll be closer than it should be.
No, yeah. I mean, that Baylor pressure is something else. That's the reason why they beat Gonzaga in that championship game. They came out hot. They came out shooting the ball well. A lot of teams struggle with pressure. Like it's in the college level. If you can play defense and you play with pressure and like you truly put your whole mind and body to it, you're going to be successful. Look at Houston, Baylor, good results every single time. Um, and it's like you said, Gonzaga's front. They're a little, youthful. They're not as experienced. Timmy's the experience on that team. You know, he's the guy they're going to look to and lean to make sure they get their bucket when they need one. They're going to look at him to like help for anything. Let him know. Because I think I'm trying to think of the Baylor team. Is it just Flagler or Flagler?
Flagler, and then Keontae George, the freshman.
Well, no. Who was on the team
Oh,
now? That was.
oh.
Is it just Flagler?
Well, Flagler, Cryer, he's hurt. The center, Flo Thamba, top 3 name of all time.
Thamba. Yes. Yeah. He's on the all-time name.
And then
for sure.
Jonathan Chumchacha but he's out for the year.
Chumchacha.
Yeah, crazy name too. But he's out for the year. There's definitely somebody else too, Dewan Bonner or something. Not many like key pieces, but Flagler's the main guy we're looking at here.
He had a good game in the championship game. I like looked it over and shot the ball well, smooth. Like I think he had 13 off the bench. I think 3 threes, something like that. Maybe went 5 or 7.
He was a JUCO transfer.
Yeah, good find. That's another good thing right there. Like Baylor, they don't get the top recruits. It's just good scouting, good coaching. That's what they do. They're not getting these All-Americans out of high school. They're finding those secret hidden gems.
They have a different.
Yeah, because we know Baylor, and if they want to get that defensive pressure, these All-Americans, they usually don't play defense. They're offensive heavy, and that's just how the game's going right now. So they really gotta like struggle and find these guys real deep somewhere. But they do it. I want to say after that game versus Marquette, Baylor didn't look good. Marquette, I'm gonna props to them. They hit shots, plain and simple. Well, if you put up 90 points on Baylor, either Baylor just turns the ball over a lot, or you're knocking everything down, and they hit everything. It wasn't even like Baylor played. They shot the ball poor. Put up 70 still. They shot like I think 40-some percent, maybe high 30s from 3. So it's not even like they shot 20 from 3 and 30 from the field. It was just Marquette. They just couldn't miss. They had a guy off the bench just couldn't miss. At the end of the day, I'm not going to hold that to Baylor too much. It happens. Teams get hot. They're going to have their time. It's a long season. Just get past that. This is a big time to showcase. Like, yeah, that was a fluke. So I want to say I like Baylor going on the road here. I want to see them respond, and if they can't respond, it's going to be interesting to see how they end up the rest of the way.
Yeah, Shaka Smart over at Marquette. Now they got me thinking: is Shaka Smart back? Is the Shaka era back? But
I don't know.
I don't, as much as I like really do love Baylor and their players, like their culture. They're just nobody's like very loud. They're quiet. They all fill their role, and they're just like competitive kids. They just
Right.
want to go out there and win. You even look at that 2021 team, Davian Mitchell and Jared Butler. Like they were quiet kids, but they just went out and did their job, and that's how this team is. I just don't think Adam Flagler and Keontae George can carry the game to a victory, especially with LJ Cryer out. Cryer's averaging 18 a game. Flagler and George are averaging 16 and 14. So like they're still doing their thing. I just don't think they're going to be able to carry when the Zags have I just think they have too much firepower on the offensive end. I don't know if Baylor's supporting cast, because that's what'll come in huge for Baylor. I don't know if they'll be able to keep up with Timmy, Julian Strawther, Rasir Bolton, Hickman, and then Anton Watson too. And even to add to that, when the Chattanooga transfer Malachi Smith comes in off the bench, that's another player to worry about. He's been quiet, but we know he can score. So I'm probably going to be all over Gonzaga on that. They haven't released a spread yet. If I had to guess, it's either going to be, I think it should be in the 5 to 7 range, favoring Gonzaga, to be honest.
I was thinking 6.
I think it'll get around there, and then plus a couple fouls at the end of the game. It gets an extra 3 points. Baylor might be down 5 or 4 at the end of the game, but then you got a foul, you miss a shot, lead goes to 7, something like that. That's kind of where I see that spread ending up at. But I can tell you one thing: I'm definitely going to be all over Gonzaga tomorrow night.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm probably I lean Baylor. I just like their whole mindset, but realistically, I could see either way. I don't really know which way to go. I really don't like Gonzaga. I I I just want to see their downfall. I like Baylor a lot more. I like their coaching more. I just like their system, how they're ran and what they're all about more than Gonzaga. So I'm pulling for Baylor. We'll see. That it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be fun. I would say that.
I agree. I agree. Well, that's all we got for this episode. We got it jam packed, a lot of stuff going on in there. So make sure to give it a like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you want to see for some punishments for Tommy at the end of the month.
Hmm.
Uh, let us know what you want to see content wise. Next week we'll throw some more new things in there. Also, we'll be having a guest next week, so make sure you tune
Stay
in
tuned
for
for
that.
that.
Yeah, that should be
It's a
it. Should be
secret too.
that should be a good one. So yeah, we appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll get back to you next week. Thanks for joining Teed Up.